Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Tyler McNabb and welcome back to the channel. So for those of you who subscribe to my channel and come here for all my videos and stuff, this one's gonna be a little bit different. This is kind of a general how-to video, but for those of you who aren't normal subscribers, this is normally like a quad channel. I do a lot of stuff with quads, but you probably saw the title of this video, so you decided to click on it. So with that, today we're going to do a general how-to on how to do some powder coating. So I've been powder coating stuff basically for probably, I don't know, I want to say I've probably been doing it for maybe 6 or 7 years now, somewhere in there. Just kind of at home doing some DIY stuff. Just when I got into racing quads, a lot of people powder coated their stuff, so I was like, I want to be able to do that, and I watched some videos on it on YouTube and looked up, bought the stuff, and it's pretty much simple as that. So I'm just going to give you a how-to of how I normally go about doing this stuff, and so let's get right into it. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to need to gather all the materials you're going to need to powder coat. So of course, one of the main things you're going to need is some powder. I've got some red and some black right here. I usually shop at Prismatic Powders. They've got like, I want to say it's like over 6,500 or something colors, something crazy. And they're relatively cheap. I think a pound is usually, depending on the powder, I mean, they can be as cheap as like $6 a pound, or they can be all the way up to like $15 a pound if it's really fancy. I've got some like safety wire here to mount parts on. And then of course you're gonna need a powder coating gun of some sort. So I have an Eastwood system, the dual voltage powder coating system. And then this is just the voltage supplier here. And so this is a good entry-level gun. I wanna say the gun by itself, I think you can buy like this for probably a little over $100 if I remember right. And that'll get you started pretty well. I think I bought the kit, so it came with this, and then it came with like a bunch of little rubber plugs and some different powders, all for around a little over 200 bucks, something like that. You're also gonna need an air regulator of some sort. So I think this is just a cheap one from like Menards or something. And then also, this is a little inline air filter, I think, that also came with the kit. For your air system, you're gonna wanna make sure that your air is completely dry, or else it can affect the finish of the powder. So this came with it. If you've got a big air compressor and you've already got like an inline water filter, then that'll work too. You're also going to need a way to bake it, so the powder. So I've got this oven here. Best thing to do is go on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and find a cheap oven that somebody's getting rid of. I actually got lucky. I got this one for free. Someone was doing a kitchen remodel that I knew, and they just wanted it out of their house. So it's a perfectly good working oven, nothing wrong with it. And it's fairly large on the inside, so I can do fairly decent sized parts. But yeah, you just need an oven, or if you're only doing small parts, like a toaster oven would work as well. You definitely don't want to use your household oven, because when the powder flows out, it releases some toxic chemicals that kind of hang around. So you definitely don't want to be using an oven or something that you're going to be cooking food in. And then last thing you need is just some parts. So like I said, this is normally a quad channel, so I'm working on doing kind of a quad restoration right now. And so we're gonna start for this general how-to. I'm gonna do some simple parts. These are some motor mounts. That's a little cover, engine cover, a little oil filter cover. And then I'm gonna do these cases. I'll flip these over. These are a lot more complex part, just because they've got a lot of different ins and outs and stuff. And so I'm gonna do those in a separate video directly related to the quad restoration. So today we're gonna go through and do these guys. So basically what you're gonna wanna start with is you just wanna clean up your part. So this one, I went through, I sandblasted it, got all the paint, dirt, and everything off, and made sure it was pretty much clean. So went through, did that with all my parts here, and you can sandblast them, you can just sand them depending on the part, but you just want to make sure all the old like paint, dirt, grease, anything like that is off the surface. So once that's done, then the next thing you're going to want to do is prep the parts. So since I got my stuff from Eastwood, I also got their pre-painting prep, and you basically just spray it on there, rub it down, and it kind of gets all the last minute oil and grease or anything that you missed off of there. And so that'll prep them and get them ready to be coated. Once everything's coated, or once everything is cleaned and everything, you're going to want to mask off any areas that you don't want powder on. So for example, these cases, this is a gasket surface going around the edge, and then the inside of the engine, don't want any powder in there. So I went ahead, I used this high temperature masking tape. It's good. It can withstand all the way up to like 450, 500 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. I bought like a big pack of it on Amazon. It got me this like thicker roll, a little bit thinner, and then even these thin guys, all for like 20 bucks, I think. So that was good. And then, like I said as well, I got these rubber plugs with my Eastwood kit, and so I stick those down in places that I don't want powder. And so you're going to want to cover anything up that you don't want powder on. Like if I turn this over, there's some gasket surface and a bearing. Definitely wouldn't want that. So got that all masked off, and then just used a little X-Acto knife and cut the edges off. So once that's done, you're pretty much ready to get to powdering. Next thing you want to do is get your source of cook preheating. So I think the powder that I'm using calls for like 15 minutes at like 400 degrees. So I'm gonna get the oven going at 400 degrees. While that's preheating, we're gonna go spray some parts. Okay, so we got all of our parts set up. Got the gun sitting here. I need to hook up the air and plug it in, and then it'll be ready to go. But what you're gonna do is it's gonna have a clip, this guy, and what you're going to want to do for best adhesion is you're gonna wanna clip it as close to the part as you can. So what I like to do is I like to clip it on the hanger that the part is hanging on. That way, that's the closest, because I mean, I could just clip it on the oven rack, but you know, as the electricity goes through the metal, it's gonna get weaker and weaker. So the best thing to do there is to just go ahead, clip it on there, and then it'll be good to go. So here we go. I'm going to get my powder put on, hook up my air, dial in my regulator. I guess that's another thing you want to do is these things, I think a lot of people recommend like 10 psi, but you're just gonna have to kind of experiment with it. I think, or not, yeah, the regulator approximately, that's what it should be set on. And so I think usually I go around 15 or 20 actually. It just depends on your regulator. This is kind of a cheap regulator, so it's probably not super accurate, but you'll just kind of play with it a little bit. And then also another trick I like to do is I like to take this little blue piece off the end, and that kind of, instead of the powder kind of going out, it kind of goes more directly at the part. So yep, I'll get all that hooked up and we'll get to spraying. Okay, so I've got the gun here ready to go, filled up. I've got my button, and this is what activates the electrical charge. So I've got the clip on this front piece, so when I press this button and spray, we should get some good coating. So here we go. Oh yeah, as you can see, it's adhering pretty good. I'm actually gonna turn the air pressure up just a tad. There we go. Just to make sure we get some good coverage, I'm gonna go around this way. See if I can get some from the back. Down from the bottom. Kind of got a redneck setup here, so bear with me a little bit. Okay. Definitely not a professional setup by any means, but it gets the job done. So I powder coated quite a few things, and so far it's worked out well for me. So as you can see, you just want to get a good even coat over it. You can't really get too much powder. That's the good thing about it. It's not going to run like paint will. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these parts. And that's pretty much all there is to spraying. Like I said, you just want to get a good even coat. Make sure you don't see any metal showing through. And so now all that's left is to throw it in the oven and bake it on. Okay, so got them in the oven. So now all you have to do is I'm gonna let them sit for about 10 minutes. And that's usually about how long it takes for the powder to flow out. And by flow out, you'll look at it and it'll look like the powder has turned to kind of paint, like a liquidy kind of form. And so I'm gonna wait about 10 minutes, come back, and then once it's in there, that usually means that the part's about up to temperature. And so then we'll start our timer and let it finish cooking. So here we go. I'll see you when they're ready. Well guys, it's been about 10 minutes. So if we look in the oven here, oh yeah, you can see they're looking a lot more shiny now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and close that back up. Going to come up here, set my timer. I'm gonna do 15 minutes. Let that bake for about 15 minutes, and then they should be good and ready to come out. Okay, well, the timer just went off, so let's look at these guys real quick. Oh yeah, so got them out of the oven, and I have to say, they look pretty darn good. So, pretty happy with that. I'll let them cool down, and then we can inspect them a little closer here in a minute. Okay guys, well, got them off the rack, and man, do they look good. That matte finish turns out really well. I'm a big fan of the matte finish. I'm not a huge glossy fan, so the matte is just more of my taste. But yeah, I think they turned out really nice. So that's pretty much going to be it for this how-to on powder coating. Let me know if you got any other questions. Maybe I forgot to mention something in the video that you want to know about, or maybe you just want, you have a question about a part you're maybe going to try to powder coat or something like that. But yeah, if you want to see me powder coat those cases, the video for that it'll be on my channel in the Project 400EX refresh playlist. Should be episode 4. I'm going to powder coat those cases. So if it's not up yet, it will be shortly after this video. So if you have any other questions, like I said, drop a comment, let me know. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.